Okay, so I feel this heaviness, this urgency. And I know I just made another video, but like there's just so much on my mind right now where I haven't been making videos that I feel like I have a lot of catch up to do. Um okay, so never stop praying for your loved ones. More so for the ones that don't know Christ. That are very lost, and they're so lost they don't even realize they're lost. The ones who don't even realize that they are rejecting Jesus because they don't know him. They either weren't brought up being told about Jesus and having faith, or they lost their way a very long time ago, and maybe bad choices and going down a different path um, led them to believe that they don't need him, or whatever the case might be. Um, I am personally experiencing this where I have, I'll just say, quite a few who um, I believe do not know Jesus. Um, it's heart-wrenching because when you are growing closer to God yourself and you are trying to grow in your faith, and when you see people around you who could use that hope, that could use that comfort, that could use that reminder that they're not alone and that they don't have to be. And it's very hard sometimes to find the words to communicate, to reach out and let them know, like, hey, I know someone. God is always with you. You guys will have to give me a moment because I was literally just in prayer and I still have his presence like all over me. So, whew. It is very hard to talk and not be emotional when you are entering the presence of his glory. His glory is so strong. It's hard to not respond to it, whether it's dancing or just moving or whatever. Like, you cannot come into the presence of God and just act like nothing happened. Like, that's just not possible. So I'm going to try my best to get through this message because whew, it is strong. When you are getting to know God, when you are getting to know the character of God, you want others to know him too. Your heart aches for those who don't know him because you keep thinking, like, you don't have to be sad. You don't have to feel this burden. You don't have to be all these things. Like, yes, we are human and we're going to experience heartache and grief and just, human emotions because we're designed that way. But the thing is, even with that, you don't have to stay there. Because we know as believers that All we have to do is call on his name. There is power in his name. He's our comfort and he's our source. As long as we are connected to him, we can do many, 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 many things. But we have to be connected and we have to stay connected. Never stop praying for those who really need to know Jesus. And this takes me back to that parable. And forgive me because I don't have any of that in front of me. Typically, I've been trying harder to have references and stuff in front of me, but right now I don't. Excuse me. So, parable I'm thinking about is where the land keeper is going around and accepting people, like choosing people to go work on his land. And he's given them 1 denarius for a day's work. And then there are people who have been there since the start of the day, and they get the same pay as someone who came in almost at the end of the day who worked. And they get upset because they think they've earned more because they've been there longer. And the message that I get out of that was that forgive me, I'm trying to find my words here. It wasn't about the pay. It was about accepting the denarius. And I feel like that message could mean like maybe 1 or 2 things or something. But anyway, the message that I got out of it at that moment was that the denarius wasn't money. It was accepting Jesus. And those who are getting the same amount of money at the end of the day is because they came in to knowing Christ later in life versus someone who accepted Jesus like early on and has done many, many, many great things. Now, I do believe it's true that the more time that you give Jesus, the more that he will bless you, and the more rewards in heaven you will be given. But the whole point of it, I believe, was that it doesn't matter when you are coming to know Jesus. It's that you are coming to know Jesus, that you are accepting that denarius, that you are accepting Jesus. Now, please forgive me if I am messing that all up, because I'm not trying to say that by accepting money you're accepting or anything like that. That's not what I mean. All I'm saying is that the parable reminded me of people who are coming into knowing Jesus later in life because it either took them too long to understand that they needed him, they, had disobedience, it took them longer. But my thing is, as long as there is breath in someone's body, keep trying, keep praying, because you never know. All we can do is plant the seed and tell someone about Jesus. Now, you want to do it in love, not just go, hey, you need to know Jesus. Sometimes we want to beat people over the head and be like, what's wrong with you? But we're not going to do that. It's so hard sometimes for us to know that Jesus has so much for a person, and yet that person just, for whatever reason, whether it's stubbornness, whether it's pride, whether it's they They live in this lie that they don't need him, that they're doing just fine, even though their life is literally falling apart around them. But hey, we're great. So it's frustrating. It's frustrating to see people who, refuse to accept Christ, even though you know that through Christ and believing upon him can do so much more for you, for your life, for your faith, for your family. The blessings that come from knowing and accepting Christ is limitless, literally. There are no limits with God. None. Never stop praying for your loved ones. Never stop praying for your coworkers. Never stop praying for your friends. Never stop praying for those that either haven't accepted Christ, need Christ, whatever the situation is, because they need us to be praying for them, because they themselves do not know Christ, or they don't know to pray. They don't know to, they live in their own deceptive world where enemy has got them convinced that they are their own god. They're god of self, they're god of love, they're this or that, they're whatever. The enemy is very, very sly with how he convinces people that they are good, that there either is no God to pray to, or they don't need him, or the enemy is very good at whispering lies and deception and saying, well, where has God been in your life? What do you see when you see all this stuff happening? Where has God been? I do believe that the enemy makes people believe that there is no God, there is no God to pray to, there is no God that's going to hear them. And a lot of people are just so convinced that God doesn't exist that they don't stop to think and look around and wonder, how did this world come to be? Was it just here? How are plants growing? How are the trees going? People are so caught up in the lies they're living in that they can't stop and see what all God has done. This stuff didn't just exist. It didn't just happen to be here. It had to come from somewhere. Somebody had to make it. Never stop praying. There are so many people out there who are needing us to step up and pray. So take this back to God. Pray about everything I say yourselves. Bring it to God. Ask God what he would have you do. But I hope you guys have a good day, and thanks for listening. Talk to you soon.